Okay, well, always for the last, I don't know, couple years, it's been like the world's biggest news in the entire galaxy. Despite being this tiny little sliver of land in the Middle East somewhere that's just teeny tiny. I mean, Israel is a big country in the global scale of things. They're very advanced, technologically. They're, one of the most powerful countries in the Middle East. But, Palestine, Gaza, this teeny little fraction of the time, your city's probably bigger than if you're living in a city in a Western country. Teeny, tiny little place, and like, there's lots of people there, but it's this concentration in this little tiny fraction of land. It's the biggest issue in the entire world. Yeah, everybody talks about it. It's everywhere, and it spread like a wave across the world of all these people, like human rights, and people who seem to think that this is some kind of fight against some other side of people versus people, right? Splitting, and I imagine every day there's billions of arguments and conversations about it, and arguments and people losing friendships over it. But I mean, seemingly Trump just ended the war in Gaza, and it's just like, yeah, it's over. Oh yeah, it's over forever. Yeah, no more fighting. They'll never fight ever again. Probably maybe by the time you've watched this, it's already erupted into chaos again. The key talking points, free the hostages. Promise they'll behave. I'm sure. And this is what's gonna happen. But for me, the thing that I really don't like about this whole thing is this this is miles away. I honestly, as a person in the Western country, could care less what happens there. I'm more pro-Israel than pro-Gaza of Palestine because I know I could go to Israel and walk around in the streets and be perfectly safe. It's a Western country with lots of electricity and people and services, but going and walking in Palestine, I'd be scared for my life 24/7 because who knows what the hell they're up to there. So, I'm and Israel's, an ally of the West. They would, they help us in the Middle East if you logically can see it. So, I mean, I'm definitely not against this, but this is what really concerns me is that it seems to have evoked peoples in Western countries to go around waving this flag, and you know, his, do you think these people are just going to stop? These people have caused chaos all over this thing. They're saying these kinds of things. They break stuff. They wear these scarves. They act as if they're Palestinians. I don't know. Isn't that weird? I can't be the only one who thinks this because, yeah, I mean, if you want to go around waving, oh, would you look at that? These two leftist talking points kind of go one in one. And it just is a thing. It's just a thing that these people they seem to just go around Western countries waving these flags and burning things and doing God knows what else. Look at that. Another time that flag with that. They're the people who did this in October 7th, and in the whole reason this war in Gaza started, they're not nice people. They're fucking terrorists. So the fact that people seem to be rallying, it's like, yeah, okay, you want to be pro human rights, support the women and children of Gaza to get you know food and medical. Fine, I'm whatever. The people of Gaza have a right to live, but a lot of them support Hamas. A lot of them are terrible, and a lot of them are not very nice people, and they, go and live in Gaza for 20 days and see if you make it back, kind of thing. So to try and go around in Western countries waving these flags and now we're all Palestine, yay! It's unnerving and I don't like it. And the fact that Western countries, some of them just let these huge, you have a right to protest in Western countries. Fine, I agree with that. But they're going around basically saying we want to be like the people who caused what happened, in the first place. I can't get behind that. And these massive protests, there's always a certain type of people there, isn't there? There are either people of Middle Eastern descent that live in Western countries, and there's a lot of psychotic leftists, liberal women in that. And it almost feels like their mind has been like warped to join with these people. Like there's a lot of people who are like, maybe they're um, Islamic. I mean, pretty much as a standard, the Islamic people and Muslims are going to just automatically support Palestine because it's like it seems inherent to their ways of thinking that they're going to do this. Look at this one. Why in London? The war just ended. And it's like, I saw this in Montreal, Canada, too. It's like there's these people are going around causing chaos. And it's like they got what they fucking wanted. You know what I mean? Like the war ended. Like there's both sides get together and sing kumbaya. It's over. So why are these people going around causing chaos, waving flags in their faces, and acting like this is some big, global, now this is gonna be like that? Because I support Israel. They're most certainly have a right to have done this because of the way Hamas operated in these locations. So I do support Israel over Palestine. So, for me to see all these people going around waving these flags and wearing those, what are those, khalifas or whatever, you have a right to protest, but these people aren't protesting. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't feel to me like a protest. This feels, and let me know in the comments if you feel the same way. This feels almost as if like a call to something. It's like, and they just like our local governments. I mean, what can they do? Honestly, go and arrest all these people for basically being pro badness in the world. They almost seem to have just skirted right through the like if you go around and you're like they're flying flags of some of North Korea and they're going pro North Korea, yay, like that's not a protest. You know what I mean? They're not protesting for the rights of a country who definitely is our enemy in their own minds. It's not gonna end. It's like you're not gonna be like, okay. And I commend Trump for trying to do something about this because it's drawing on everyone how this is just now still just this thing in our lives that we have to hear about. Fucking everybody has an opinion on it. So good on Trump for actually like trying to do something about this. But like, what do you think this is just gonna be over and everybody's just not going to fucking all of a sudden talk about it? No, this, and that brings me to this other article that just came out. Now, when I saw this on X, you're just like, well, fuck, it hasn't even been a day. It wasn't even 24 hours. But you got, a Palestinian journalist, Salin, whatever, Al Jafari shot, that. So I mean, this is, and then you see in like one post, it's like one post it's Israeli militants. The other posts are people saying that it's Hamas. It's like are you gonna get the real answer? I'm more inclined to believe, and I've almost seen this just with my own two eyes of the pictures and videos I've seen online, to just do my own observation and think this way, is that it almost looks like Israel has said, you know what, we're pulling out. troops leave, everyone go, here you go, here's your land, Palestinians. And it's just become this absolute chaotic, vicious life, like survival of the fittest type maelstrom of all these people. So I mean, it's not gonna end well. It's like there's no, like, it's not gonna, like, the. So here's another thing too, is that, like, where are these people going back to, honestly? And like, Israel has destroyed all these strongholds and these houses and these buildings. Is like, people are really gonna live in that? You know what I mean? Like, you got Gaza back, but like, look at it. That's not safe. It's like, it doesn't take a structural engineer of, uh, Art Vandelay from, New York to tell you that they'll people are gonna go and be in these buildings, and like, a building is gonna fall on them and crush them, one of these days. So like, what they should have done is they should have fixed this all before they let these people come in, because these people are going to be looking for food, they're going to be looking for something to do, they're going to be trying to, survive. And what do you get when you have a whole bunch of people collating in one area with not enough resources for them? They turn on each other. They're going to become, absolutely feral, these people. And that's not going to end well for them, and that's not going to end well for Israel. Now, Israel has to have a plan, because they're very, very intelligent country. They know all this. They see this. And me thinking in a strategy terms is saying, hey, look, maybe they're, let's just pull out. We've lost troops, soldiers, we've lost equipment. Let's pull the troops back, regroup, build our intelligence, see what they're doing. That seems smart to me. It seems like an intelligent thing for, Israel to do, to just see what, because this place is an utter war zone. Like, there's nothing left of it. Um, so what are these people returning to? You got kids walking around in their barefoot on all this rubble and sharp glass and stuff. It's not good situation. And like, you're gonna have all these people sending aid and money to try and reconstruct Gaza, but guess who's gonna come and just take all that for themselves? Is Hamas, or whatever militant group, Iran is. You gotta remember, like, at the end of the day, Iran is probably behind a lot of this, all of this chaos. They want to, like, they want to overthrow them. Now, I think what happened is they stepped a little too far with those missile strikes way back in the summer, and U.S. came in and just stamped the hammer down, and there wasn't a real general, need for a massive war when they just said, Iran was like, okay, sorry, we're gonna stop, and now this Gaza situation has just been on its own to fester, and that's what's gonna happen, is it's really gonna fester. And what you're going to see probably in the media in the next year over this is, if it doesn't go back to a full scale war, is you're going to see that these people have brought so much animosity for Israel that they've day one, the first 5 minutes of the ceasefire, they've already started planning some type of horrendous incursion and some type of resistance movement. Maybe another group even, pops up over this. So it's a whole messy situation. You can't expect that, a war just ends like that. Sometimes they do, often they don't. And they often escalate into something even worse, which is what I think is going to happen here, is that you have all these people, they just have absolutely nothing, and they're out of food, no water, and they're still under the authoritarian, control of a terrorist organization. And I think that basically what's going to happen is that it's like a wound festering. It's just going to get worse and worse and worse. And Israel's going to have to come back and control all this stuff. Either they're going to have to control it, or it's going to spiral out of control for them. Uh, and it might look good for a while that, the war's over, everybody can go back and rebuild. Well, it's literally taking a giant city of Lego, smashing it all and being like, okay, have fun, fix it all. It's going to take for absolutely ever. It's never going to become what it was in 10 years. 10 years of aid, even from Western countries, it's not going to become good. So that's my whole thing. But back to my central point, I don't like the way that people are. I don't know what that is. I don't like the way people in Western countries are going around flying these flags and pretending like now everybody's Palestinian. Like, it just doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel normal. And there's just a very certain crowd of people doing these massive things. I mean, look at that. See the contrast there? See the people doing that there. And then you got the police in the middle. Let's just make everybody peaceful. Well, you know what? These people aren't gonna care. They're seemingly enraged in some type of frenzy of that. And you're not gonna say that, especially when it says that Trump is the one that stopped it all. You're not gonna have these people who have been protesting and flying flags and calling for, all this craziness over this war in Gaza. They're not suddenly going to just be like, well, the war's over now. Now everybody's free and happy, so we can put our Palestinian flag in our closet and leave it there for the next possible, time there's a massive war. And they're not gonna do that. They're just gonna keep doing what they're doing and protesting in the way that they're doing, or they're gonna, come up with some new reason to do that. And it all speaks of just this, you import the world's problems, you get the world's problems. Because I can tell you in this, every time there's a pro-Palestinian massive rally, protest, peaceful assembly type thing, I can tell you this, that there's a good portion of those people that are like, don't really like the country that they have. They want it that they live in. They want to change it to become like whatever they want it to become. They're not coming around to be like, hey, let's make now everybody's accepted and we're one, like peaceful unity. No, they're gonna still be like, Palestine, we are Palestine. Like, look at all this. These types of protests are just, look at it, and you got all these white liberal women, running around on doing this. These protests don't feel like protests. They're not protesting anything other than destroying anything that's not Palestine. In my opinion, that's just what it looks like. They're doing things like, they're trying to just very, very, they're suckling in people who are like, empathetic leftists that, we love everyone. Oh my God, the newest talking point on social media is that we have to support Palestine because poor Palestinian people. But there are people within this groups that they're not empathetic. They're only empathetic to their own views. They're thinking of this as some type of big revolution there, that now that they can, make everywhere the Middle East. And these protests are just very effing concerning. They are, there are people within these groups, and I think anybody political should recognize the fact that there are people within these groups that just are not good. They don't have good intentions in mind. They're not like, yay, we saved Gaza. The war's over. Okay, pack her up. Let's just go and assimilate to regular Western life now. No, they're not gonna be like that. They're gonna continue being crazed. They're gonna be watching what happens in the Gaza situation with like a hawk. And in general, this just doesn't bode well for all the people accumulating towards this cause that by every metric and intent of purposes as far as the news concerned says is it's over, it's done, no more Gaza protests, everybody. No need to, no need to make these big demonstrations anymore. Gaza's free, they'll rebuild, everybody will be happy, Israel and Palestine will never have any problems. That's not going to happen. This doesn't just end like that. As much as Trump probably did everything humanly possible to end this, Barcelona. It's like, what does Barcelona have to do with Gaza? There's massive things. You got the communist thing, and you got the rainbow flags, and it's a leftist. Here, wait, what is it? Is that a One Piece thing? Starting to be very afraid. Yeah, see, other people are thinking is too. Is that like it's a clash of ideologies? It has absorbed, all this leftist insanity and craziness, and it's like the Gaza thing has accumulated into that too, and it's become this big maelstrom of all these people who seem to think that they're helping the world when in general they're making the world seem very, very, very it's gonna go in a bad direction. I'm telling you that. Is that these people are going like, no, like bring down the Western civilization because of Palestine. It's like, what are you talking about? It's like, it's really crazed, and that's what we're seeing with these Palestine prisons. It's a sliver of a fraction away. The Amazon rainforest is like 1 billion times bigger than Palestine, and the Earth is this massive place, but this little ideology in this little tiny fraction of the corner of the world has like kind of enveloped all these people into this radicalness, and it's just not gonna end. It's just not gonna end. So yeah, I mean, that's my thoughts. That's kind of why I'm thinking about this Palestine Gaza thing. Is it's not over, and people have gone very insane over it in Western countries, and the fact that they're protesting this stuff, in reality, they're just, it's a crazy leftist, the world is evil type of idea. Absorbing all these young, impressionable minds, Middle Eastern people who live in the Western countries who are not overly like accepting of Western values and civilization, and not being like, well, we just need diversity because diverse societies are great. We can have these people. No, they don't care about that. They want to come here. They want to just like change it for themselves and, screw everyone else because of Gaza. It's like, it's really, really, really weird. It's really weird. It is weird, 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 weird shit. I will tell you that. It's like this guy. It's like, what does that guy have to do with Gaza? Nothing. What does that lady have to do with Gaza? Maybe I don't know. Maybe she is actually Middle Eastern, but you know what I mean. Like, um, and it seems as if a lot of political institutions are like taking the side of Gaza and that this insanity of what you might call it. It's like, what's to stop these people? Let's think of hypotheticals and insane situations. Let's say Israel just like changed their mind, or they did something really, really, really crazy, and they did something that was really controversial, really destructive to the whole peace deal, and it all just fell apart. And once again, there's even worse crises, and you get all those pictures online of horrible atrocities. And now you've got people running around in your backyards and streets burning shit because of what's gone on a whole ocean away, thousands of miles away. It's that type of thing that leads to, this insane time that we're living in, where I realistically don't care what happens there. I hope people in Israel can live happily and peacefully, and I hope people in Gaza can live happily and peacefully. But I'm not going to lose sleep over the fact that everywhere all over the world there's bad shit that occurs, and I can't do anything about it. So, I'm not going to go running around the street saying peace and happiness and everybody should be peace and happiness, because it's not going to fucking do anything. And just like these protests, is that it hasn't really done anything. And nothing's gonna change now that it's like, oh, it's over. Okay, everybody go home. You got the rainbow flags and everything in that. And you got the tents and the people outside the university. Imagine telling these people that have made this their whole lives, and they have tents and giant flags, and let's go to the closet and get the Gaza protest fucking kit out. People, they're not gonna stop. They're not just gonna hang in the coat and then like, hey, look, it's over. Yay. Let's get, God forbid they congratulate Trump for making this all possible. It speaks to a very angry young generation of people who are deeply confused about the world and the world events. And I know for a fact the Middle East is never going to be a peaceful place. And if anything, the chaos in the Middle East is just going to spread. And it's just going to make people crazier. And whatever comes of all this is going to lead to probably even worse situations around the world of these people just like do something about something that will never be fixed. It's like that's the insanity we're living with. Don't like these massive Gaza part protests. You see them in New York, you see them in Montreal, Canada. Hear about them even in your local town and city probably. It's not something that just goes away. People are so confused about these issues and they take it out on the streets, and this is the type of thing that worries me, when now all these institutions are infected with this empathetic view of horrible shit that goes on in the world that they have no control over, and you get stuff like this, anti-LGBT protests, you get shit like this, and chaos and destruction everywhere over nothing. We live in a great country. There are bad places in the world. Don't fucking bring that shit here. That's my message to the world.